It was a cold morning in Sedona, Arizona. The red rocks looked calm. The sky was gray. I stood outside the small wooden house where I had moved just 3 weeks ago. I looked at the hills. My hands shook, not from the cold, but from what I saw last night. There was a letter. It was not written in my language. It was written in perfect English, but it was not my handwriting. The letter was on my desk when I returned from my evening walk. I live alone. No one knew I was here. No one knew I taught English. No one knew my secret of fluency. But someone did. When I was young, I did not like English. I found it hard. I was from a small town. My parents did not speak English. At school, I sat in the back. I was quiet. I was scared. People laughed when I spoke, so I stopped speaking. But I loved stories. I loved how words could paint pictures. I wanted to be a writer. But how can you be a writer when you are afraid of words? So one day, I walked into a small library in Taos, New Mexico. I picked up a book called Whispers in the Wind. I could not understand it, but I did not put it down. I read it every day. I read one line, then I wrote it down. I said it out loud. I closed my eyes. I listened to my own voice. That was my first step. Years passed. I moved from town to town, from Bar Harbor, Maine to Carmel by the Sea, California. I worked in coffee shops. I slept in old motels. I read books. I listened to people. I watched movies with subtitles. I paused after every sentence. I repeated the words. I tried to feel the rhythm. I copied the tone. I tried to sound like them. I stood in front of mirrors. I practiced for hours. I failed many times, but I kept going because I believed in one thing. If you walk with words every day, they become your friends, and one day they speak with you. Then something strange happened. I started writing short poems. I sent one to a local newspaper in Jackson, Wyoming. They published it. They wrote, "This young teacher writes from the soul." But I was not a teacher yet. I was still learning. That day, I told myself, I will teach English. I will help people who are afraid of speaking. I will tell them my secret. So I became a teacher, not in big cities, but in small towns. Gatlinburg, Tennessee, Asheville, North Carolina, Leavenworth, Washington. I met people who had never spoken English before. I looked into their eyes. I saw my old self in them. I told them stories. I told them my story. I told them not to fear mistakes. I told them to speak slowly, to speak with feeling, not with fear. I told them that fluency is not fast speaking. Fluency is free speaking. But even with my students, I never shared everything. I kept one part of my journey hidden. That was the part that made me cry at night. The part that brought me here, to this house in Sedona. That part was about love. A girl I met in Mystic, Connecticut. Her name was Eliza. She was kind. She had soft eyes. She spoke in whispers. She was learning Spanish. I was learning English. We sat on the bench by the lake every evening. We read books together. One day, she looked at me and said, "You are fluent now." I smiled. I said, "Only with you." We were happy, but good things end too fast. One morning, she left. No letter, no call, just silence. I waited. I wrote to her. No reply. I looked for her in every town, Fredericksburg, Lake Placid, Hood River, but I never found her. I stopped teaching for a while. My heart was heavy. I thought I had lost my words, but the truth was, I had not. My words had grown. My pain had made my language deeper. My silence had made my voice stronger. I started teaching again in Galena, Illinois, then Saugatuck, Michigan. My students asked me, "How do you speak so well?" I smiled. I said, "I speak with memory. I speak with love. I speak with pain." They did not understand at first, but over time, they did. One of my students, Maria, told me, "You teach from the heart. That is your secret." Maybe it was. But last night, when I saw that letter on my desk, everything changed. It said, "You never stop searching. I never stopped watching. Meet me in Marfa." That was it. Just that. No name, no address, just the town. Marfa, Texas. I could not sleep. Was it Eliza? Was it a game? Was it danger? Or was it a second chance? I packed my bag. I took the letter. I locked the door. I drove for 3 days. I passed small towns. I saw empty roads. I listened to old songs. My heart beat fast. When I reached Marfa, it was quiet. The town looked like a painting. I checked into a small inn. I waited. The next morning, I walked to the old bookstore. There was a woman inside. Her back was to me. She turned slowly. It was her, Eliza. We stood still. Then she smiled. She said, "You still speak in poems." I said, "You still look like a story." She told me everything. She had to leave because of her father's illness. She tried to write, but she lost my address. She moved to many towns. She searched for me too. One day, she saw my name in a school newsletter from Breckenridge, Colorado. She followed my journey through small clues. She found me here. She wrote that letter. We sat at a small cafe. We talked for hours about books, about words, about silence. She told me, "Your fluency is not just about English. It's about how deeply you feel, how softly you listen, how clearly you care." I smiled. For years, I thought fluency was about grammar, speed, or big words. But that day, I learned fluency is when your heart and your voice speak the same language. Now I teach in Nantucket, Massachusetts. I still move from town to town. I still read. I still learn. Eliza visits me sometimes. We sit near the sea. We read new books. We write letters we never send. And I tell my students, you don't need to be perfect. You need to be present. Speak with truth. Speak with feeling. Speak like you mean it. This is my secret. My fluency was not born in books. It was born in pain, love, loss, silence, and the small voices I met in each town. And I will keep telling this story, because words are not just tools. They are bridges. They are homes. They are the echo of who we are.